There's something strange about human behavior that almost nobody notices. That project you've been dying to finish. That message you've been meaning to send. That conversation you know you need to have. That course, that workout, that dream you've carried around for years. Why are those the very things you keep putting off? It's not the boring work you avoid. It's not the meaningless tasks. It's the exact opposite. You avoid what matters most. You run from what you want the most. And what if I told you it has nothing to do with being lazy? Take a second and think about something you've been putting off for months. Maybe even years. Now notice something. That thing isn't unimportant to you. It isn't boring. More often than not, it's the most important thing on your list. The book you want to write. The business you want to start. The question you want to ask someone you love. If it were just laziness, you'd avoid unimportant things and important things equally. But that's not what happens. You'll wash the dishes. Answer pointless emails. Organize drawers that were already organized. You'll do just about anything, except that. That's not a lack of energy. It's energy being used somewhere else. It's being used to keep your distance. For a long time, the most common explanation was simple. You don't really want it. If you did, you would have done it already. It sounds logical, but it overlooks something obvious. Nobody carries a dream around for years, feels the weight of it every single day, thinks about it before falling asleep, and still doesn't want it. You do want it, and that's exactly why it hurts so much not to do it. The truth is a lot more uncomfortable than saying, I don't really want it. The truth is, I want it so badly that I'm afraid of what I'll learn about myself if I try, and it doesn't work out. Here's the hidden pattern that's been sitting right under your nose. The more something matters to you, the more it says about who you are. If that project meant nothing, finishing it, or not finishing it, wouldn't say anything about you. But because it means everything, finishing it feels like a test. And as long as you never finish, the test never happens. As long as the book isn't written, you're still someone who could write an amazing book. The moment you write it, you become someone who wrote a book. Good or bad. Infinite possibility becomes one limited outcome. Psychology has a name for this. It's called identity protection. You're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the moment when that task stops being a possibility and becomes reality, along with every risk reality brings. Maybe it won't be good enough. Maybe people will judge it. Maybe it won't impress the people you hoped it would. As long as you never try, nobody can tell you that you failed. Not even you. There's even a term for this pattern. Protective self-sabotage. It isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you from one very specific kind of pain. The pain of discovering your own limits. And your brain, in its most primitive way, would rather deal with the discomfort of putting something off forever than face the risk of getting a final answer. Before we go any further, if you're fascinated by the hidden ways the human mind works, that's exactly what this channel is all about. Every week, we break down behaviors that seem irrational and uncover the hidden logic behind them. If you'd like to keep seeing content like this, make sure to subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Now, let's get back to it. Think about someone who wants to change careers, but spends years getting ready without ever applying for a job. They're not unprepared. They're avoiding the moment someone might say no. Think about someone who wants to end a relationship that's no longer working, but keeps postponing the conversation. It's not because they don't know what they want. It's because they're afraid of what that conversation might reveal. That maybe they have to admit the choice they made in the past was the wrong one. Think about someone who's had a business idea sitting in a notebook for years, but never takes the first step. As long as the idea stays inside their head, it's perfect. The moment it becomes a product, a website, an ad, the world gets to test it, and the world might not like it. You can even see this on social media. How many people record a video and never post it? How many people write something, then delete it before anyone sees it? It's not because the content is bad. It's because hitting publish turns a protected idea into something exposed to other people's judgment. Notice the pattern. In every single case, the real problem was never the task itself. It was what the task might reveal. Imagine you keep a painting locked away in a room. As long as nobody sees it, it can be the masterpiece of your life, at least in your imagination. The moment you open the door and show it to someone, it becomes just a painting, with flaws, with imperfections, open to everyone else's opinion. Avoiding what you want most is like keeping that door locked. Not because you don't love the painting, but because as long as it's hidden, it can stay perfect in your mind. The problem is, a painting locked in a dark room never becomes a real masterpiece. It only exists as potential. And potential, as comforting as it feels, never builds anything. Most people ask, how do I stop procrastinating? But that's the wrong question, because it only treats the symptom. The better question is, what is this specific task forcing me to learn about myself that I'm not ready to know yet? Maybe it's the possibility that you're not as talented as you thought. Maybe it's the possibility of disappointing someone who matters to you. Or maybe it's simply the fear that once you achieve that goal, you'll lose the identity you've grown comfortable with. The identity of someone who's still getting ready. Someone who says, one day I'll do it. The moment you name the specific fear, it loses some of its power, because you're no longer fighting a vague feeling of resistance. You're dealing with a real fear. One you can observe, question, and little by little, face. And here's the most important part. You don't have to get rid of the fear before you act. You just have to stop treating fear as proof that you shouldn't try. In this case, fear isn't a warning sign. It's simply evidence that it truly matters. Maybe you've spent your whole life believing that avoiding what you want most is a sign of weakness, a lack of willpower, or laziness in disguise. But maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's proof that it matters so much. That part of you would rather protect yourself from any risk than leave yourself vulnerable to an answer. The problem is, that protection comes with a silent cost. Years go by. The painting stays locked in the room. The book stays inside your head. The conversation never happens. And the life you wanted to build remains nothing more than a possibility. Maybe the answer isn't becoming a different person, more courageous, more disciplined, more ready. Maybe it's finally admitting you already want it badly enough to be afraid. And that fear, instead of stopping you, might be the very sign that it's time to open the door. Because the answer was never that far away. It was right under your nose. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What's the one thing you want the most and avoid the most at the same time? And if you want to keep uncovering hidden patterns like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, there's a new video exploring why we do the things we do.